Now that we've finished up our carousel, we can go ahead and move down the home page to the featured products block. This is going to be another somewhat complex component, but it's going to end up just like the carousel with a really cool effect that I think you're going to like. Just like before, let's go ahead and break down the design that we'll be building, and then we'll go ahead and move into Strapi to actually pick out our featured products. So here is our featured products block. We'll pick out what products we want to be displayed here, and then we'll pick the product image to display inside of a frame, and then from behind that frame, whenever we click on it, we'll have that green box slide out from behind it, displaying some of the extra information. So first, just like always, we're going to need to start off with a grid to wrap this entire thing. And so we'll make this a grid container direction of column so that we can easily have the products stacking from top to bottom. Then, for each product that we have, we're going to go ahead and use a grid item container. And since that is a container with the default direction of row, and we want to align the items inside of it, the actual product image, from left to right, we'll go ahead and use the justify prop. So for this first one, we'll go ahead and have a justify of flex start. But then as we go down, the second one will have a justify of center, and the third one will have a justify of flex end. That will then just repeat for the fourth, fifth, and sixth one. So then to actually build out that product image, we'll first have a grid item, and then that will hold the frame as well as the image itself. So that will be for the first part. Then for the information that's actually going to slide out from underneath it, we'll have another grid item, but notice here how we are using the grid item to wrap a grid container so that the justify prop works as expected. Then that's going to contain a grid container with a direction of column that's going to represent the container holding all the information. We'll have it be a direction of column. That way, inside of it, we can have each of the grid items first wrapping a typography for the product name, then a grid item wrapping the rating, and then a grid item wrapping a new component that we'll see the chip component, which will give us the look for the price, and then a grid item wrapping the button for details. So this will be the basic structure, and we'll go ahead and then that will just be repeated for each of our featured products. So now let's go ahead and flip over to Strapi and actually pick out our featured products and mark them as featured. So I'm here on the Strapi dashboard at localhost port 1337/admin, and let's go ahead, and we've already added the featured type to our content types. So we just need to go into our products collection and actually mark the products as being featured. Now you might want to note that for your own applications, you may want to, just like the promo products, you may want to mark this actually on the product variant if you have specific variants that you want to feature or promo. But in our case, I'm fine with just using the first variant of our product. Now, we've already marked some of our products as being promo, and we only have actually 9 different products. And since 3 of them are already marked promo, let's mark the other 6 as being our 6 featured products. So again, this would be a little different if you had lots more products, but since we didn't want to spend hours entering in tons and hundreds of different products into our database, we'll just go ahead and use the other 6 products that we didn't mark as promo. So I'll go ahead, select the I++ hoodie. Let's mark this as featured, and we can hit save. Then we can go ahead and the light bulb hoodie, featured, and save. We'll do the code block shirt, featured, and save. The light bulb shirt is featured. And then the I++ hat, featured. The code block hat, featured. All right, and now that we've marked our products as featured, let's go ahead, and if you had the Gatsby server running, let's go ahead and stop that and start it back up. So that way it should have access now to the new data that we just created in Strapi with our featured products. And so that means we can go over to our graphical interface for GraphQL and build out our query to grab those featured products. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll clear out the query that we had before. I'm going to refresh this page, and let's go ahead and we'll go and pick out, we want the all Strapi products, and we'll filter it for the featured products that equals true. All right, and then we need to go down to the edges, and I'll make this large so that you can see that, sorry. And we'll go ahead and under the edges.node, we can now pick out the information that we'll need to build this out. So we'll go ahead and pick out the name of the product. We'll need the Strapi ID of the product, and we'll worry about adding the actual ratings for the product later once we actually set up the reviews and see how we'll approach that. But in the meantime, we'll just use a placeholder rating for each of our products. So we'll just need the name, the Strapi ID, and then under variants, we're going to go ahead and need the price of the variant as well as the image. And we'll do images and then the URL of the image. All right, so if I go ahead and run this query, you should see that we now get back our featured products as well as the name, the variant price, and the variant images. So that should be all we need to build out the featured block section of our home page. So let's go ahead and copy this, and now we can open up our code editor, and underneath the home folder, let's go ahead and create a new file, and this will be our featured products.js. We'll go ahead and start this out just by building a simple component to test our query. So let's just import React from React, and then import the use media, not use media query, but the use static query and Gatsby or GraphQL from Gatsby. All right, and then we'll go ahead and we'll export default the function featured products, open this up, and then we can create our const of data equal to the use static query called with GraphQL, and then backticks, and then paste in our query. Let's call this get featured. Then underneath this call for our const of data, let's go underneath this and let's return, and we'll just return a div that says featured products, and go ahead and console.log the data. All right, so I'll go ahead, save that, and now let's go to our index.js, and underneath promotional products, let's import featured products from components home featured products, and then render it underneath promotional products. All right, if we go ahead and save this and flip back on over to our browser, that should trigger a rebuild of our Gatsby server. So then if we go to localhost 8000, we should be able to scroll down, and it looks like it's super zoomed in. And now we see our featured products underneath our promo products block. And if we inspect the page and go to the console, we see that we do indeed have the 6 products that we had marked as featured. So let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back in the next video to actually build out the featured products slides.